Hi, my name is Ben Fry. I am the marketing manager here at Holovis. We are a leading innovation company that works in the themed entertainment industry, and we are based in Hinckley in Leicestershire. Today we are going to be talking to you about innovation in the themed entertainment industry, and we've got a few speakers from across our various teams to talk to you today. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be a panel discussion, but the nature of our business means that our team are spread from Shanghai to LA. So as you can imagine, time difference is not on our side. So some of it has had to be pre-recorded today. But we hopefully have got some really good stuff that you'll find really interesting. It's a great industry and full of innovation, so lots and lots to talk about. We're going to start with a quick message from our CEO, Stuart Hetherington, who's going to talk you through the history of Holovis and what we do.
I'm Stuart Hetherington. I'm the CEO here at Holovis. Holovis is a company that for the last 20 years has specialised in creating immersive, interactive experiences and attractions across quite a diverse range of industries. Originally, we came from a background in enterprise, working in specialist immersive technologies, large-scale virtual reality in the automotive industry. And here today, we use all those same technologies, but in attractions and large-scale experiences all across the globe. At Holovis, we design large-scale immersive interactive experiences and attractions, and we facilitate that from our offices in China, in Shanghai, working on some of the most advanced new theme parks that we're helping develop and build over there, to our offices in Orlando, where we work with some of the biggest players in the themed entertainment and attractions industry. We also have a large presence in Abu Dhabi, where we're currently working on some major projects over there, and our expansion into the whole of the GCC region, which is a strategic goal of the business over the next 18 months, 2 years. And then to here in the UK, where we've got our head office in Hinckley, just over 100 people here at the offices that used to be the old Triumph Motorworks. And this is where the magic happens. We've got our multidiscipline teams here, from our creative, media and design teams through to our engineering teams, again, of all different disciplines, that put together the amazing experiences and attractions that we design and build. So I often get asked, why do we end up in Leicestershire? Historically, the business started here. I studied here in Leicester, and the business grew there naturally around the startup that we did 20 years ago. But it's a great place to be because obviously it's the heart of the UK. Historically, where we started with a lot of our immersive technologies in the manufacturing and automotive industries, they're obviously very prevalent here in the Midlands and very important to the businesses here. And we're very proud to be part of all of the business ecosystem here in the Midlands. So historically, as with any startup, when we started Holovis, it was all driven around not just an entrepreneurial spirit to develop the business into what it is today, but it was created around that very important mindset, a mindset where innovation is at the heart of everything that we do. And specifically for me in leading the business and growing the business as we've done, having that mindset was so important for myself and my colleagues around me and co-directors, and of course with the team as well. And at Holovis, an innovative mindset is something we look for in everyone when we're interviewing them. It's something that is at the heart of the business, it's the heart of our culture here. And innovation is not a task. It's not something that you can just do because you can talk about it. Innovation truly is a mindset. And for those that we see with that ability and that mindset, we give them the canvas, we give them the headroom, we give them hopefully the tools and the flexibility to really expand on that and be innovative in their particular areas, their particular disciplines within the business, but strategically as a whole across all of the business in delivering the next generation of immersive interactive experiences that we specialise in.
Thanks, Stuart, for that wonderful introduction into Holovis. We are now going to head over to our Integrated Experiences Director, John Tozer.
Hey guys, my name is John Tozer. I am Director of Integrated Experiences here at Holovis, and I work with Tier 1 theme park clients and our great team here to integrate and implement our designs of systems into attractions that go around the world. Some of the technologies that we work with on a day-to-day basis in the complex AV team include high brightness, high frame rate projectors, direct view LED of various different sizes and unique configurations, high bandwidth media servers, 3D audio systems, and all manner of stuff that goes in between that as well. Working with our clients, we always lead with the creative intent and then follow with the technical intent. Often when working with Tier 1 theme park clients, we are understanding their vision and figuring out how we can best integrate these technologies into their attractions. In my role, I work in all stages of our project life cycle. So that begins with working with the clients to figure out how much things cost, the budgetary requirements that go into estimating the cost of an attraction. Once a project is awarded, working with the teams to design the systems that go into the attractions. I then work with the teams in the fabrication, installation, and commissioning phases in order to actually implement the systems. And then we do it all again. And the interesting thing about my role is that I am doing at least one of those things for many different projects simultaneously. So wearing different hats in the day to make sure that our projects are moving along suitably for our clients. One of the amazing things about working with Tier 1 theme park clients is that we get to collaborate with their intellectual property owners, the owners of theme park, and their wonderful partner vendors that they have working with us. So we get to collaborate with a real rich team of skills, talents, and disciplines in order to build these systems that go into these attractions.
Thanks, John. That was some great insight there. We're now going to head over to one of our creative consultants, Lillian Bedder, who's going to be talking to us all about gamification.
Hi, I'm Lillian Bedder and I'm a creative consultant working here at Holovis. So we work on a number of different projects. At the moment we're working on a lot of different projects that involve gamification. So we're working on lots of different projects that span over lots of different clients and lots of different types of entertainment. But unfortunately I can't talk about them too in depth as some of them haven't opened yet. But I'm quite excited to tell you a little bit more about how we put gamification into experiences and attractions. So what is gamification in the themed entertainment industry? So gamification can range from lots of different things. So it could be mobile applications that are integrated into a theme park experience. It could be physical experiences that kind of span across an entire land or across the entire park. But really what it aims to do is add an additional level of entertainment into the pre-existing experience. So whether that is a small overlay that you might want to add a gamification component to a pre-existing ride, or whether you want to design a whole attraction purely around gamification. So where do you start when you design gamification? So gamification can mean lots of different things. So really, I think it's best to really start with the experience itself and the guest. So you want to think about who the audience is, you want to think about the overall experience, what do you want the kind of audience and the guest to get from that experience, and start from there. And then you can really think about what do you want it to really be? So do you want it to be like a physical experience? Do you want it to be kind of a portable experience? So is it mobile app based? And really from there you can kind of work out a little bit more around where do you want to put the focus, and also what do you want to add in terms of overall leveling in terms of the experience that you're trying to create. In terms of innovation in gamification, what we're seeing at the moment is we're seeing a massive shift in the themed entertainment industry. So we find that a lot of people are now starting to realise that gamification can mean lots of different things within the experience. And a big thing that we're seeing is storytelling. I think a lot of different people that are looking at gamification or adding gamification to their attractions are really thinking story first. And I think it's definitely changing the perception of how people approach it. So we're now moving beyond just a mobile application overlay in a theme park to a fully ingrained theme park experience which has a gamification overlay. And we're starting to see it take a little bit more shape in terms of becoming an attraction in its own right, as opposed to something that's an additional thought or something that's laid on after the project's open.
Thanks, Lillian. Next up is our Deep Smarts and Data Analytics Director, Stuart Edgington, who's going to be talking to us all about how data is transforming the themed entertainment industry.
Hello, I'm Stuart Edgington and I'm the Director of Data Analytics and Deep Smarts for Holovis. So Holovis has been at the centre of innovation and has really been driven by innovation right from its inception. many years ago by our founders who came out of the automotive research sector and really used the innovation in virtual reality and high-end engineering visualization to create some amazing new technologies sort of 10, 15 years ago. Now, that kind of put us on a trajectory where we were using immersive technologies, we were experimenting and innovating and iterating on those technologies. And that's really been a hallmark of Holovis ever since. There is no magic recipe for innovation. It's not something that you can create an innovation department and suddenly you're going to be creating amazing products. It's a mixture of all different elements, all different aspects of a business, from the people, and that's a hugely important part of Holovis, is the talent that we have, through to the culture and getting the right mix of being mission driven or mission orientated alongside being practical and pragmatic in terms of what we're producing. And of course, expertise. Over time you accumulate a level of expertise across various different industries. Holovis has operated in the enterprise entertainment industry, and we've brought innovation and new ideas from one sector to another, and that cross-pollination has been a real factor in our success, whether that's bringing virtual reality type technologies into entertainment, or in my behalf, looking at data analytics and how that can be used in unique and novel ways. So obviously data analytics is an important part of today's society. Everything from Amazon giving you recommendations through to the work Meta are doing around the metaverse, all the way through to Tesla and self-driving cars, and all the sensors and all the clever machine learning technology which goes into that. And here at Holovis, we're also innovating and investing in those sectors. The two major products, or the two major innovations and initiatives, I should say, that Holovis have undertaken are Deep Smarts and HoloTrack, two products we've developed over the last 3 or 4 years. I guess the best way to describe HoloTrack is the eyes and the ears. It's a sensor system. It's a sensor and array covering everything from cameras through to RFID tracking devices, Bluetooth, and it collects and collates all of this data, all this information from the sensors, and it all goes back to a centralized brain, effectively. Now that brain then is where Deep Smarts comes in. So Deep Smarts is the analytics, it's the processing, it's the machine learning aspect of the product. And that takes all that sensor data, it combines it, it joins it to other information that we have on the guests, on the geospatial side of things, brings all that together, and then we try and create insights and new experiences based on that combined data set. The future for Holovis and where we're looking to invest and what we're excited about really comes down to how we can use data analytics, machine learning, and some of these emerging technologies in conversational AI to really personalise and customise a guest experience. So what we mean by that is taking all of that data either directly in a way which is compliant with GDPR and all of those kind of privacy aspects we have to consider, but also is doing data collection in a more subtle way, which is still, fits within those guidelines, but is the guest is less aware, so we can create great experiences and surprising and delightful experiences for them. So we're really investing in that, looking at how we can do a lot around sensor fusion. I mentioned conversational AI, that's something we're very excited about. There's obviously advances in miniaturization in immersive technologies, whether that's VR, AR, or mixed reality. There's a huge amount of sensor information which comes from that as well, whether it's pupil dilation or gaze detection, or whether it's just tracking in general using computer vision algorithms to track people around a space and use those biometrics, those signals, to feed back into the experience, again, to create something completely unique for that guest, and carry on what Holovis have always done, which is create amazing experiences using technology and innovation.
That was Stuart Edgington giving us a great insight into how data is used in the themed entertainment industry. We're now going to hear from our head of product delivery, Matt Dobbs, who's going to tell you all about how we take that insight and apply it to a brand new product, 360 Golf.
Hi guys, my name's Matt Dobbs and I'm the head of product delivery here at Holovis. We're very proud to introduce our new technology, 360 Golf. This golf system is an innovation in taking kind of core and traditional sort of untechnology driven attractions and really bringing a layer of tech to it that takes it to the next level. You know, with our Holotrack technology, we're able to track the ball, count the number of strokes given by the guest, and have some real cool gamification. Yeah, we looked at several different ways of involving the product and sort of innovating around it. And one of the key things was traditionally on a mini golf course or golf, you would have a scorecard. So we decided to scratch the scorecard and put it all as a digital format, taking away that whole that kind of sort of paper exercise. Makes it far more intuitive and easy to play, and just more fun for the guests, which is ultimately what we're really after. Fun is key. Here at Holovis, we're really proud of saying that we fully turnkey everything we do here. So we design this from ground up. We build out from the set work through all the technology, integrating the software, and taking it to site, and then installing it, and then helping the client through the operational side and any challenges that might face, and then continuing on with maintenance and support. So our courses are typically packed with a bunch of technology, and the Holotrack system tracking the ball, counting the strokes, and there's a bunch of sensors around the course as well, which really add to the gamification and gameplay, triggering different things at various times, including like smart shots, and adding to that whole gamification layer, which again is all around the fun. In addition to tracking the ball and other sort of sensing technologies, we wrap the thing with an audio-visual experience, so including lighting, both on the course and potentially off the course. Some of our courses we've even done projection mapping for that extra wow moments.
Thanks, Matt, for that look into how we've applied all of this knowledge and innovation into our 360 Golf product. It's one of our most exciting products, and we're really excited to see the rollout continue this year and into the future. My role as marketing manager is to look after the PR and launches of all of our big, new, exciting projects and attractions across the world. And I'm going to talk to you about one of our most recent and most exciting projects that we have delivered, the Lego Factory Adventure Ride at Legoland New York Resort. So a little bit about the ride itself. The ride is a fantastical journey through the Lego Factory, and we actually visited the Lego Factory out in Denmark to make sure that some of the details was as authentic as possible. But given it's a theme park, there has to be that magical element, there has to be fun. So you are led around the factory on a tour by a character that was created specifically for the attraction called Professor Brick. And he takes you on this real whimsical, fun journey around the Lego Factory. On your journey, guests find out and see how the famous Lego brick is created, but it's got a twist of fun. So the granules are squished by an elephant, the bricks are melted down by a dragon. So you're seeing the real process, but with a twist of fun. So you're obviously adding that fantasy element on top of an actual kind of real educational experience in a lot of ways. When guests first enter the factory, you come face to face with a sleeping dragon, and this is your first encounter with our real innovative tech that is spread throughout the attraction. So there's a real nice moment where you have to scream to wake up the sleeping dragon, and we actually have a monitor that measures how loud your scream is. If you don't scream loud enough, that dragon's not going to wake up, and it's not going to melt down the granules for the Lego brick. As guests then move through the attraction, the next scene is that you are transformed into a Lego minifigure. So through some real cool tech, we are able to scan a guest and see, sort of recognise their physical attributes. So it recognise what sort of hair they have, what colour, what style, if they're wearing glasses, if they've got a hat on, what sort of clothes they're wearing, what top they're wearing, if they're wearing a scarf in the New York winter. It will quickly see all of a guest's physical attributes, and what it will actually do is quickly scan the entire Lego minifigure catalogue. So we'll have a look for it. It has all these assets, and it will know, okay, a guest is wearing a red shirt. We need to pick out the red shirt for the minifigure, and it really quickly, it will put together an exact minifigure replica of that guest. The guest will then see that in a real nice scene where you are able to puppet your Lego minifigure. So you are able to wave at the screen, and your minifigure will wave back, and it will mimic your actions. So you can do a little dance, you can do a little wave, and it will do it right back to you. So the finale of the ride takes place in a child's bedroom. You are the minifigure they have chosen to take home. So you get sort of packaged up, taken home, shipped home, and then you spill out into their bedroom, which is this sort of crazy scene of play and excitement with loads of stuff going on. So there's loads of media happening, there's loads of content, there's loads of physical set, and it's all really big, and it serves as the finale of the attraction. So in this final scene, we wanted to use loads of different exciting technology and really service the finale of the ride. So in this scene, there's projection, there's big media walls with content that we've created. There's projection mapping, which is where we're able to project onto sort of physical objects and make them look like something else. And there's a big photo frame where you see yourself as a minifigure again, and they'll wave goodbye at the end of the attraction. So we really wanted to kind of throw loads of stuff at you in this final scene to give you that real wow moment, that real ending to a ride, and that's what you come off it. That's what makes you come off it buzzing. That's where you get the final excitement. And so we utilised loads of cool tech in that final scene to give you that feeling. This amazing transformation is powered by our HoloTrack technology. So this is a groundbreaking technology which is integrated into the attraction in a way that is totally invisible to guests. So this is the facial recognition, this is the attribute recognition that is seeing what you are wearing, what you look like, and transforming you into a minifigure. It's really cool, and this was the first time we've been able to use it in an attraction, and it was really groundbreaking. So we worked really closely with the client, Merlin Magic Making, and the park, Legoland New York Resort, to deliver this amazing attraction. We did what we call a turnkey service on this attraction, which basically means that we did the whole package from concept, we did the creative, we did the story, we did the scenic. Scenic is the physical set that you see in the ride, so all the big physical Lego pieces, we created those, we designed and created those. We did all the media, so all the videos and all the content that you see throughout the attraction, those are ours. And then we also did, of course, our bread and butter, which is the technology. So, of course, the HoloTrack tracking technology that transforms you into a minifigure, and the technology that allows you to puppet that minifigure. And we also did all the sort of AV, so all the sound, all the lighting, all the projection. We delivered that all. It was a really, really exciting project for us because we don't always get the chance to do a turnkey like that. We can do the whole spectrum, but it's still quite rare for us to get the opportunity to actually deliver that. And it was really, really exciting, and it's got fantastic guest feedback. We won an industry award for it last year in IAPA Brass Ring. They recognised the best new attraction for last year. So it's been a real, real exciting success for us. A massive thank you to all of our panellists who, as I say, have joined us from various different projects around the world. So thank you for your time this afternoon. We are now going to move on to the panel discussion part of our session today. So the first question for our panel this afternoon is, what do you think is going to be the next big innovation in the themed entertainment industry? What's going to be the big next game-changing technology? What is the next innovation that's going to really drive the future of this industry?
The next big innovation in the themed entertainment industry, I think, is tied to the exponential increase that we're seeing in the processing power for computing hardware and all of the components within that, so GPUs and CPUs, and the amazing things that our software developers can do with this new increased tool set. It's also tied to, I think, the advancements that we've seen for innovation across the last few years, working at the bleeding edge of technologies. We're seeing that we can do some really amazing things with the processing powers that computers now possess, particularly around that of real time. And we have not reached the peak of what we can do with these systems. We're going to see some really amazing things across the next couple of years, a lot of which I can't actually talk about. But in the next 1, 2, 3 years, there's going to be some attractions that are going to be coming to theme parks around the world that are going to be leveraging real-time technologies in ways that aren't just limited to gamification.
Well, of course, I would say data and analytics, right? So that's my bag. But I think certainly sensor fusion, something we've talked about a lot, bringing all these different data sets together. There's some question marks around how certain immersive technologies work in a themed entertainment space, and also there's been quite rightly a move away maybe from device-centric experiences and trying to get people's heads up. And I think that will continue. I think with these advances in computer vision, in tracking and sensing, and the way we can interact, that human-machine interface, I think there's some really interesting possibilities there for personalisation and customisation, but also creating your own journey, having a memorable experience because the system or the park or the environment remembers you and can understand the context of what you've experienced within the day, and then using that both in the park, in the attractions, but also when you get home and being able to take that experience home. So this is a very exciting area for us, really fast moving, lots of different technologies and areas of expertise which are coming together to create something really special.
In terms of innovation in the themed entertainment industry, I think something that we're seeing much more is how do you put the guest directly into the story? And I think character is becoming a really big trend that we're seeing across a lot of different theme parks. So it's a case of how do you take the guest and put them right into the story, make them a part of the story, part of the environment? How can you seamlessly add them to the experience without them really knowing that, it's almost a seamless transition from being a guest outside of the theme park to being right in the heart of what the theme park story is trying to tell. And I think we're definitely seeing much more of an emerging trend where story comes first and then the guests, it's all about how they interweave directly into the crafted experiences that are all around them in a park environment.
Taking the technology forward, we sort of integrate very much these days with augmented reality and AR overlays, which add a whole other layer of gamification and gameplay. In addition to that, using data and the amount of data now that you can get feedback from a system like this, really useful from an operational standpoint and helps tune the guest experience as we innovate through and come up with new ideas. And the operators love this approach. That kind of feedback that you get from in real time as the guests are going through and playing an attraction like this, that really makes a big difference to the way that they're thinking from driving forward, and the way that we then think around innovation for new products and this type of attraction.
So what of the future at Holovis? Well, we really see the out-of-home experiences and attractions that we are involved in and that we are innovating and developing for some of our major clients as the real sweet spot for us. And we know how important it is to acknowledge the in-home experience is changing dramatically and becoming more accessible and scaled as well around the technology that is available to individuals within their home and families. So the out-of-home experience has to be so much more and something that you truly can't achieve or access in home. And that's something that we obsess over in our development work and in our innovation pipeline that we have around the experiences and the attractions that we develop.
Great, there were some great answers there. Thank you, everyone. The next question is, what innovation do you think has had the biggest effect on the industry in the last 10 years? So just looking back actually now, instead of looking towards the future, what has happened in the last 10 years that's really created a catalyst for change in this industry?
If you look at the last 10 years in the experiential entertainment attractions industry and look at how innovation has shaped that industry to today and changed the face of it, it's really around the way that we take guests and visitors on greater levels of immersion, interactivity, and connectivity around those experiences. I think the real innovation work has led to and has driven that need for people to be obviously socially connected, but with experiences that are truly memorable, things that they will remember not just on the day that they're visiting a theme park or a museum or a heritage centre, but for all the years to come, they'll look back to that experience and remember it with their families and friends because of some of those new technologies and new capabilities that we've laced into it that really differentiate them from some of the oldest technologies that were available to what we have today.
I think when we look back at innovation over the past 10 years, I think it used to be very much rooted in tech, and the technology was actually at the forefront of the experience. So I think it was like, VR. People would use VR, and that would be the big selling point of what you wanted people to come to. That was the kind of big selling point of the attraction. And now what I think we've seen is that it's now slowly started to transform a little bit more into hidden tech. So I think it's definitely had a massive impact. So where we've come in terms of milestones, in terms of technology, and how it's kind of trickled into the theme park industry, trickled into people's homes, it used to be that big wow selling point that used to get guests through the door, but now I think it's all about invisible tech. How is technology enhancing the experience for the guest without you even realising that it's happening or that it's around you? And I think it's definitely kind of set the bar of what we can do in themed entertainment, but I think we're only going to see how technology is going to evolve and how it's going to transform the industry over the next 10, 20 years.
I think the coolest innovations of the last 10 years are again tied to the advancements in computing power and what we can do with that. So the last 2-3 years we've seen some amazing attractions come to market which have leveraged computing power, and what that means is we can shift extremely high bandwidth data around with extremely low latencies, in some cases single digit milliseconds, and in doing that doing some amazingly impressive things. Constantly admiring the work that my colleagues do and that other innovators within the industry are doing, leveraging this technology.
Brilliant, some real food for thought there. Our next question is, do you think innovation is always a good thing? What are your sort of watch outs when it comes to the innovation process?
Do I think innovation is always a good thing? That's an interesting one. No, I think that advancement technology is at best kind of agnostic, right? There's no bad technology. A few exceptions to that, but in general, there's no bad technology. It's always about how it's used, and we shouldn't be too reticent to or go away from development and advancements. But equally, we can't take the other extreme, which is just to assume that some kind of amazing outcome will always happen. We've got to be very conscious of that. So, no, I don't think innovation or too much innovation is ever a bad thing if it's successful. If you're, spinning your wheels with innovation and it's not directed and it's not progressing, through the stages that an innovation has to become pragmatic and practical, and something that Holovis specialise in is making it work in reality, right? That's something we've been doing for many years as a complex systems integrator. So, yeah, you've always got to have some direction, and I think we've got to have our eyes wide open in terms of how technology is used and how these developing technologies are used. But in general, no, I don't think there's bad innovation.
I think when we talk innovation, I think a lot of people assume that innovation is the best thing. It's all about reinvention. I think a lot of people focus very much on reinventing what's the next big thing, what's next, what's coming up next. And I think sometimes you have to kind of go back a step and think about, well, why did, theme parks or attractions kind of get to where they were? And it's through kind of good old-fashioned ways of doing storytelling or design. And I think it's definitely, when we look at innovation, it's not necessarily coming up with like the biggest and best next thing. I think it's a case of looking at what works really well and how do you then take that forward to the next step. And it's not that I'm against innovation, but I do think we're seeing a big shift in how people choose to innovate, especially when we're looking at experiences.
The themed entertainment industry has been innovating for decades now, beginning with web enterprises back in the day. So innovating in the attractions industry is nothing new. And there is some tropes that we must continue to watch, and that's really not using technology for technology's sake, or not just trying to innovate for innovation's sake, but really kind of leading with the needs of the creative intent or the needs of the intellectual property, and building the systems around those needs. It's important that we continue to innovate and at the same time allow creatives, directors, people who are deciding how the guests are going to experience these attractions, what tools we have in our toolbox, because it's ever increasing. And it's important that we continue to develop a richer selection of tools whilst working with the creative team, so we can implement these technologies in a way that is going to be additive to the guest experience as opposed to distraction.
Some excellent points. Let's move on to the next question, which is, why do you think innovation is so important, particularly in the themed entertainment industry? So I think we all agree innovation is important for all businesses and everything that we do, but why particularly the themed entertainment industry?
Innovation in the themed entertainment industry is so important, because the industry is continually striving to deliver magical experiences, magical attractions that take people on a journey that suspends belief. And the only way you can do that is by continually pushing the envelope of the immersion, the interactivity, the storytelling that is all encompassing, that wraps visitors and puts them into the heart of that experience and that story in a way that all of the technology becomes transparent, becomes seamless, and that they truly believe they're there as part of that journey, that story that's unfolding in front of them. And innovation has to be at the heart of that, because it's complicated, it's challenging to deliver on that vision. We do that through adopting, obviously, the very latest technologies and innovating our research and development programs to really deliver the what next. And it's very exciting when you think about what we have in our innovation pipeline, even over the next 18 months to 2 years, that talks to those points and hopefully delivers on them in a way that, again, makes us stand out as a company that really can innovate and deliver something very different.
In the themed entertainment industry, we have the responsibility to deliver experiences that guests simply can't do in their own home, their own bedroom, living room, whatever that may be. And we have a really exciting challenge to stay one or multiple steps ahead of modern consumer-grade technologies. But these modern consumer-grade technologies are more amazing than they ever have been. It's super easy and quite relatively cheap to go and pick up a great VR HMD, or to purchase a next generation games console and have really engaging and compelling experiences with these technologies in one's home. We need to stay multiple steps ahead of that. We can definitely continue to be inspired by consumer grade technologies, but understand how we can convert those experiences at scale to build on those experiences and to suitably use those experiences in compelling ways around an attraction.
Okay, another toughie here. What do you see as the barriers to innovation? So what are the sort of things that might get in a company's way to stop them being able to innovate and grow?
When we talk about things like barriers, I think there's definitely an area of people only want to push the boundaries as far as they think they can. And I think there's definitely an element when you're innovating is that it's really crucial to think about, not be having those limits or not being held down by what can actually be achieved. I think only really when you truly innovate do you look for what you want to achieve, and if you can't get there, how do you go about doing it? And I think a lot of people get restricted by what they think is possible. And I think if you have an idea and you really feel quite passionate about that you'll find a way to make that happen. And that's really how I do think innovation comes to be.
Some of the barriers to innovation that we can sometimes see is access to technology in order to really understand what technology can do. Luckily at Holovis we don't necessarily have that problem. We are lucky enough that we get to work with manufacturers in their innovation pipelines to help drive products. And when it comes to market, to leverage those capabilities that we have helped to implement and to suggest with our partners. One of the particular challenges that we have is around timing. Innovation and iteration of systems can happen so quickly. That's something that we can innovate around today that can quickly become out of date come tomorrow, and experiences that we can create in the year 2022 might not look so great in the year 2024. So we always need to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead of ourselves to ensure that the experiences that we deliver tomorrow look good tomorrow and don't become out of date too quickly.
And finally, we've got a question here from the audience that's come through our social media. How do you approach innovating in your role? So to our panelists today specifically, how do you every day make sure that you're innovating and helping to drive Holovis forward? What are your tips for success?
My tips for success? Well, I think what's always worked well for me is to continue to be professionally curious. And what I mean by that is to look outside of necessarily your particular area of expertise, to be interested in the world, how things are being developed, different technologies, different, as I say, sectors. I think some of the ideas, that are coming out of the bio mechanical and the bio technology sector are really interesting, particularly around human-machine interface. Certainly around geospatial analytics as well, and how that works with this future of layered realities, which obviously the most well-known kind of flavour of that is the metaverse. There's lots of areas which have been doing that kind of sensing, geographical sensing, spatial sensing, and analytics, which we can learn a lot from. So yeah, certainly that, keeping professionally curious, trying to create an environment which fosters innovation. That's kind of a bit of a cliche, but we've talked about it many times before. It's a mix of the right people, talent, an environment which they're free to experiment and iterate, getting the right culture, and that goes both ways. It's in terms of creating a space where innovation can start, but also that it's directed and it's not just innovation or experimentation with no direction.
When it comes to me personally and how I see innovation, I think a good example of that is how you can inspire other people. So I think especially when you work in an industry like ours where a lot of different disciplines have to come together, if you are a creative or you have the ideas, I think it's also a case of rallying everyone around you and pushing them to push themselves. I think there's definitely an element of when you are creative or the ideas person, you have a specific vision, you know kind of where you want to get to, you have an idea of what it is that you're after, but maybe the people around you don't quite see that vision. And I think only really when I approach innovation myself is definitely rallying behind the team and kind of getting them to the end goal, which I can see quite clearly. And I think through doing that, you kind of inspire the other people around you that might come from a completely different background to create something brand new. And I think only really you can, working together with other people and working as a team and kind of collectively bringing ideas to the table is really how innovation happens.
I believe that innovation is its most compelling when multiple teams come together to work on these technologies that go into these attractions, whether that be team members from the same company, multiple different organizations, vendors, owners, everybody kind of getting together to work in the same direction to deliver really, really awesome experiences. It's my job within Holovis to create an environment where our teams can do their best work innovating and continue to work, understand and leverage new technologies to create new experiences for our guests.
Innovation for me and for us here at Holovis is back to that point around the mindset. And not everyone has that, and that's fine, but you really need a nucleus, a core of people that can demonstrate that ability to innovate in their specialisms, their areas of work, and strategically across all of the capability in the business that we have. And for me, it's one where the excitement and the drive and the passion that we've always had as we've grown Holovis over the last 20 years is seeing people come up through the business with that mindset and be able to own and develop their own rhythms in the business, their own capabilities in the business, and that's led to creating their own technologies, IPs that we see then go on to be delivered in some of the major experiences and attractions that we're world renowned for. And we're so proud of that when we look at it and see just how innovative the team is and how different it makes Holovis in the market that we work in.
Okay, thank you. I'm afraid that's pretty much all we've got time for this afternoon. So thank you so much for joining us. In a minute, we're just going to play a little sizzle reel that will show you, give you a good idea of the sort of projects that we work on here at Holovis. Hopefully give you some inspiration. And we really hope you enjoyed the session. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us through our social medias.